Charlie Kirk was an absolute hero and should always be remembered as such. In his very unfair passing, I know it's left so many of us devastated, heartbroken, grieving, filled with anger. And then we remember not only was he a truth crusader, he was a husband and a father. What the evil doesn't know that took Charlie's life from him is his work will far outlive him. I'll tell you why that's true in a second. But first, from my point of view, Charlie's life's work was about doing God's work. And he did that through the form of standing for truth, freedom, family values, and America. Charlie was truly a modern-day warrior fighting for truth. And he didn't use violence. He used something far more effective, far more in alignment with God. He used his heart, his brilliant intellect, and words, and he used them to dismantle the evil that manipulates people's minds. And I don't think there's another human being in my lifetime that more effectively helped free people from mind control and evil that wants to manipulate them, to control them, so they could have their minds back, so they could have a better connection with God through a clear mind and a clear heart. And it is absolutely no exaggeration to say that Charlie Kirk's work is just as potent as MLK's work of helping free society from the evil that likes to divide based on race using hatred, or Gandhi's work or Nelson Mandela's work that fought the evil of corruption and tyranny. Truly, the only difference is, by all objective measure, Charlie Kirk reached more people. And this is why Charlie Kirk's work will continue and live on far past him. He didn't make his work about himself. He made his work about serving others. He founded Turning Point USA that has over 250,000 student members. Charlie Kirk's videos have well over billions of views online. He not only impacted more lives than can be counted, he helped awaken and motivate to do the work of God. And the evil that possessed the human being or human beings behind Charlie's murder was threatened by Charlie. And that should be a powerful testament to the impact that Charlie Kirk has had on humanity. Evil oftentimes functions with intelligence, but it's still stupid. Here's why. It doesn't understand the human heart. It doesn't understand that people like you and I, we're now more motivated than ever to carry on Charlie Kirk's legacy of pursuing truth, standing for truth, and doing God's work, being devoted to our families more now than ever before. So in other words, as many people have already said online, the moment Charlie Kirk was assassinated, millions of Charlie Kirks were created. And here's how stupid the evil is. The evil thinks you will be intimidated into silencing yourself because of what it did to Charlie Kirk. For you to get the message that says, here's the consequence of pursuing truth in God's way. Here's the consequence of calling out Satan's mental manipulations and how it captures people's minds. There is a consequence to that. Did you see the video? We made sure you would see the video. And evil wants you to be intimidated into silencing yourself. And that makes intellectual sense, but evil is stupid because it doesn't understand that you and I have a heart that's connected to God, the same God-given legacy that Charlie Kirk lived so brilliantly in his life. That's the same God-given legacy that wants to live through you and I. And I would dare say Charlie Kirk's life and his death is the biggest inspiration for you and I to double down and realize now is the time, more important than ever, to stand for truth. Not when it's easy to do, but especially when it's hard to do. And that's one of the lessons I get from Charlie Kirk. He didn't just stand for truth when it was easy, sitting there talking to a camera. He went into the hardest places imaginable to represent truth. Hostile college campuses where many people's minds have been captured, but he cared enough to go help where it was needed the most. but that was also the hardest place to stand for truth. And that's a lesson I get from Charlie Kirk. Courage isn't standing for truth when it's easy. It's seeing his life example and realizing real courage is standing for truth when it's hard to stand for truth. Now, on that, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, here's a quote from the Bible in Corinthians that the evil doesn't want you to know. Yes, we live under constant danger of death because we serve Jesus, so that the life of Jesus will be evident in our dying bodies. So we live in the face of death, but this has resulted in eternal life for you. But we continue to preach because we have the same kind of faith the psalmist had when he said, I believed in God, so I spoke. So as we continue to grieve, how can we honor the life of Charlie Kirk? Number one, praying for his beloved wife and his 2 children that had their husband and father so unfairly taken from them. Number 2, I would invite you to consider this. Let his children's father's legacy live on through you and I. Speak the truth, especially when it's hard to be spoken. Speak the truth when we're intimidated not to. Be devoted to serving God. Be devoted to having a family and prioritizing your family. Charlie Kirk absolutely left this world a better place. And the more you and I can learn from the courageous example of Charlie Kirk and let that live through us, he will continue to leave the world an even better place. We lost a national treasure.